I've tasted your glory, and I left it there. You poured out your
Hi, I'm Craig McKibben. I'm the lead pastor here at Evangel Church, and we had an incident that took place on January 3rd, 2010. We just finished doing our Singing Christmas Tree last year. It was such a huge success. We were taking apart all the pieces, and we were basically down to just the trusses, which kind of stabilized the whole unit. I was waiting for the next truss to be taken care of when I heard this sound, a haunting sound above me.
You know, am I really seeing Ken, being electrocuted right now? And so I called out right away, turn off the power.
I heard somebody say, call 911, call 911. I thought to myself, hey, I am 911. I went to feel for a pulse, and I couldn't find any.
I heard Jeff say, I need somebody to breathe, and I said, I'm here for you, Jeff. And Jeff and I started CPR on Ken.
When I found out that it was Ken, I said I have to call Ken's wife. So I took our student ministries guy, and I took him into the room, and I looked at him and I said, this is a call you'll never want to make. So I called Roz and said, Roz, are you alone? And she said, no, there were people there. And I said, you need to get someone to drive you here to the church. There's been an accident.
And I thought, okay, God, just help me. And I did breathing, and Jeff did the compressions. And looking at him, we knew he was dead.
And then the paramedics showed up, and they kind of took over the scene. So I was just basically staying in the background, and they were doing their work on Ken. They were injecting the drugs in him. They were, I believe they used the defibrillator on him 3 more times. So I believe it was 3 or 4 times in total that they used the defib on him, and there was no response. And I remember one of the firefighters that I know pretty good looking at me, and he says, this guy's a goner.
They were trying to figure out how to get the stretcher up to the top to put him on it to carry him down. And one of the EMS said, there's no use, we'll just pronounce him here and then we can just carry him down.
I couldn't believe what was happening. I couldn't believe that something so exciting was going to turn into something so traumatic so quickly. And I remember a friend of mine, Mark, who's like one of Ken's best friends, was standing beside me, and he said, Lord, we just come against that right now. And we just began to pray. It could not have been a minute. It couldn't have been a minute. It had to have been like, I'd say 20 seconds or so.
And then all of a sudden I heard somebody say he has a pulse. He had a wound on his head that all of a sudden started bleeding, and so then they started working on him a little more furiously, and the pulse started coming down, and then they basically figured out a way to get Ken down, and then they took him to the hospital.
Hi, I'm Ken Ricketts. I'm a member of Evangel Church, Brantford. From the time they say I got the shock, and from the time my heart started beating again, they say it's about 41, 42 minutes had passed. They decided they were going to put me in a drug-induced coma and stop my brain from swelling, and they also put me in ice bath to try to bring my body core temperature down. Through all of this, they basically said to my wife, his chance of survival was like slim, probably 5% even surviving. And if he does survive, it'll probably be just a vegetable. And a few more days went by, and then they slowly brought me out again. Lowered the morphine level, brought me out of the coma. And they weren't expecting much, but within minutes, I was talking.
And they were kind of expecting Ken to have some limited response to light and whatever. And here's Ken sitting in his chair and sitting in the bed, and he's cracking jokes with the neurologist. And he's doing everything that the neurologist was asking.
And he is with us, no matter where we are, what we're going through.
God put us here for a reason, and he was definitely with us the whole time.
But God was very present in the whole thing.
There was a lot of God in a very dark situation.
And sometimes we think just one speck in God's eye, but God cares about that speck.
Every day that I go through, situations, I know that God was with me, and I know that God is with me even now.